Today, I'm going to explain how I make my homemade dog food. Now, a few months ago, our youngest dog was only 4 years old and she died from kind of a rare blood disease. So we got a new puppy, and at that point, we decided we would be making some homemade food. Our thought process was, we've already lost one. This was kind of devastating to us. We have 3 dogs in total now, and we wanted to just make sure that the 2 older ones and our youngest one were healthy and happy. If you choose to make this like I do, I use a large soup pot, and then I use my Cuisinart and just shred everything up and put it in that soup pot with some water. So carrot, zucchini, cabbage, sweet potatoes, brown rice, and I either brown off some ground beef and drain all of the fat away. I have made several turkeys. At Thanksgiving time, we got some good deals on turkeys, put them in the freezer, and I've just made whole turkeys and given them that. And then, of course, chicken is always an option as well. All right, I always start off by shredding up some zucchini. This adds extra moisture to the mixture so that it doesn't burn in my pan. Tons of carrots. I usually do about 5 pounds of carrots when I make this. I make huge vats so that I can just freeze it. I don't have to do it very often. I clean the sweet potatoes, scrub them down, and cut off any bad spots before shredding those, and I do leave the skins on. The sweet potatoes are really good for their digestion. And then I just put it all in a giant soup pot. Now on top of that, I buy bags of coleslaw mix. So this is just what that is. So there's some extra carrots in there, but the cabbage is actually very good for them as well. So in this particular pot, I added ground beef that I had browned, drained off all of the fat before adding it. And I also add rice. I cook 4 cups of brown rice and add it to the mix. When I discussed with our veterinarian starting to make the dog's food, the first thing that she asked was that I continue to feed them dry dog food so that they get all of their nutrients met, and it's better for their teeth, to keep their teeth strong. So I agreed that I would make homemade food and just add that to what they were already getting. So cut back on some of the dry dog food. She suggested either replacing 1 complete meal a day with the homemade food or just adding a spoonful or 2 to each meal, which is what we chose to do. Now, our dogs absolutely love this, so I know that they're enjoying this, but more importantly, I feel like they're getting all of the nutrition that they need. Also, when we discussed what type of food to be feeding the new puppy, she had suggested that she has more dogs that get sick on an all-meat diet. So some of the dry dog foods that are kind of expensive out there tout that they are 100% all meat, that they don't have any grains in them, and she said she has more dogs that get sick from those expensive foods. So just be careful. If that's how I came up with this recipe, I talked it over with her and she gave me some good resources. So if you are thinking about doing this, definitely discuss with your veterinarian and be careful of all the foods that dogs cannot have. Now, dogs cannot have several foods that are kind of common in our daily eating, onions being one of them. So when I make something like meatballs and I put onions in them, the dogs can't eat meatballs at all. So I have to be careful of what I am feeding them. Here's just a list of some things that you should not give your dogs, such as chocolate, grapes, onions, bones that can splinter. Think chicken bones, almonds, garlic, raw eggs, avocados, and of course, sweets and salty food. Foods that are healthy for your dogs fall into the carrots, the cabbage, the sweet potatoes, brown rice, cooked eggs, peanut butter, green beans. So what I found myself doing is if I had any vegetables left over that we hadn't eaten and we didn't put butter on, or maybe partial package in the freezer, I was saving those. So anytime I make my meals for my pups, then I had extra vegetables to add. So this is just another example. This one used turkey. I also added spinach to this, some green beans that I had in the freezer that we hadn't used up. I had a little bit of broccoli that I've added to it. They seem to love just about anything as long as it's cooked. If I gave them a green bean by themselves, they're just not into it. If you've been thinking about making dog food to help supplement your dog or even to do it full time, I highly suggest this. I feel like I'm doing something good for them. It really doesn't take that much time. Maybe 2 hours every 2 months, I freeze these, and I know that I'm doing something better for my dogs than what I had been doing in the past. We are eating healthier. I'm trying to get the dogs to eat healthier. But at the same time, I don't want to spend too much money. So they are not eating a super expensive brand of dog food. This is just something that I'm adding to it so that I know that they're getting 100% nutrition, and the vet was perfectly fine with this. Please discuss with your veterinarian and do your research, and your dogs will love you for it. Thank you for joining me at White Shadow Fare.